It feels like fall, but my garden thinks it's spring. Hello, my garden friends, and welcome to my Sunday morning backyard garden tour. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Liz and I garden in California, Zone 9B. Now let me show you exactly what I am talking about. Besides my beautiful Elizabeth Angus bougainvillea, which is blooming again, look at my beautiful morning glories. And all of my vinca just does not give up. But this is the part that is surprising me the most. All of my sweet potato vines are actually coming back. I cut these all the way down to the nub thinking that, okay, it's fall, they're done, but nope, they are actually growing again. Even my Super Tunia Vista bubblegum, that's coming back as well. I cut this back thinking it was done for the season, but look at my friends. There is new petunia blooms. Can you believe that? I swear my garden looks like it's spring again. And even all of my paper white bulbs have sprouted. It's just going to be a matter of weeks before those are blooming. I'm just so surprised. Good old and very unpredictable California weather. But I would have to say my bougainvillea is once again stealing the show. Honestly, if I had more room in my garden, I would grow more of these because this has been putting on beautiful color all summer long. And now we're already in November. Yes, I would definitely grow another one if I had the room in my garden. And that's not all. Look at all of my nasturtium. Just last week, they weren't this big. They were just little sprouts. Look at all those beautiful flowers. And behind that is my pink geranium and more paper whites. All my spring bulbs are already coming up. And also, just since last week's garden tour, my hollyhocks, those have doubled in size. And my red Russian kale, I have one on each side. Those have doubled in size as well. I suppose I'm supposed to harvest those leaves and consume them. Yeah, I need to do that. And my beautiful gilded sun rose. It looks like spring. It looks like it's putting on its first spring show. Even all the little string of pickles and string of pearls in my succulent propagation station, those are blooming with little yellow flowers as well. I mean, I don't even know what to show you. My beautiful Kupfia, this shrub has also doubled in size. And behind the Kupfia, it's also called a firecracker plant. There's a verbena. This always comes up in spring, but it's coming up again now in fall. And it makes these cute little purple flowers. They always reseed themselves. I'm just so shocked at what is growing. And when I thought that my garden was coming to an end, you know, God's creation says, no, God's still in control. And below my dwarf fig tree, I'm growing these succulents. It's funny because I didn't plant them there. I was actually propagating succulents from my half barrel, which is right there. And I stuck a piece in the ground, kind of by accident. I just kind of threw it in there. And it grew this big, beautiful plant. It seems to be very happy here, so I'm just going to leave it be. And it does also make flowers. See, now if I just take off a piece of it and I wait for the end to kind of dry out, maybe a week or two, and I just stick that in dirt and it'll make a brand new plant, because that's how this plant came to be. And if you notice in my little succulent and cactus corner, this plant, the exact same plant is right there. It all came from that one same mother plant. I just took a little piece in that pot and it grew a whole new plant. Speaking of propagating succulents, this is my succulent propagation station. It's made up of 3 park benches I just got for free. They were throwing them away. I painted them different colors. They are kind of starting to fade, so I'm probably going to repaint those soon. But it's a place where I experiment and propagate succulents. So all I do is I wait till that stem dries out, or I could just stick it in the dirt now, but I'll just be sure not to water it so it can kind of dry out in the soil, and then it'll grow a new plant, just like this one is a new plant just from sticking a piece in. And look at the flowers on my string of pickles. Can't believe it is fall and there's so many things that are blooming in my garden. What a blessing is all I can say. God is so good and so generous with all of his gifts that he continues to give us. You know, when you're in a garden, I always say the best place to find God is in the garden. Because if you just sit still and just look around, and it's like God reveals himself to us through the blooms, through a seed germinating, and just everything in my garden says God. And look at another morning glory is growing up my cattle panel. Cattle panels are a very inexpensive way to add an arbor to your garden. This is one cattle panel. I sliced it in half and then I got 2. And over here is my water fountain garden with some lily turf below it, some vinca, cyclamen behind that, some white cyclamen, just to brighten up that corner, with 2 clematis growing up the rusty arbor. And down below I have a miniature rose, a geranium, and that's my succulent half barrel that somebody made for me. They were actually leaving California and they didn't want to take it with them, so they said, I bet Liz would like that for her garden. So they gifted that to me, and then I just kind of painted it and put my own little touches on it. And inside is some portulaca, and it looks like there's all kinds of little buds on those. So I think those are going to flower as well, with some agave and a cactus barrel. And over here is my little children's fairy garden, decorated with some pink cyclamen, some vinca in front. And that's my cat Angel. Isn't he getting so big? And behind Angel is some more vinca, more of that oaxis in the terracotta pot on top of the chair, and a bottle tree. And yes, I paint all of my doors. Currently, I have 20 doors and counting. Yes, I say counting because after I film this garden tour, I'm probably going to paint another one with my granddaughter. I also have bottle trees in my garden. I just hammer rebar into the ground at different levels, and then I put bottles and vases on top. Just a way to give my garden a little extra color. And here is another surprise. All of my coleus is coming back. I can't believe it. I just cut those down to the nub thinking, okay, they're done for the season. And look there's a brand new growth on my coleus. Such a shock. I know as soon as the temperatures get below 40, they will be done, but oh my goodness, I'm gonna enjoy my gifts today and not think about when they're gonna be gone tomorrow, because we're not promised tomorrow, but we are promised today. How does the saying go? Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. This is my favorite part of the garden, actually, because it's where I sit and do all my artwork, and this is my view from my patio table. But look at my friends, my wave petunias are also coming back. Can you believe it? There's a bloom. Oh my goodness, I guess I need to get more BT spray, unless the dreadful cabbage worms and caterpillars won't bother it in the fall. I'm hoping so. But yeah, look at my beautiful vinca. It just does not quit. And the creeping Jenny, and this is a trailing Vinca minor. And over here is my little bridge garden. And in last week's garden tour, John and I revealed the name to our little fisher boy. This is Frankie the Fisher and his fish friend Finn. Growing below is some lemon coral sedum, and I do have some society garlic over there in the back, but it's going to take a while for that to catch on because I just kind of propagated that. And that is my mirror trick. The mirror actually makes it look like the creek or the river is going farther than it really does, because I didn't want to look at my stucco wall. And I have Canterbury bells growing down there. Those will bloom in spring with some vinca and some tropical milkweed that just popped up from seed. I did not plant that, although I did have a tropical milkweed in my other vintage bathtub, so the seeds must have just scattered there, blew in the wind or something. And over here is my cottage garden with a lot of fallen leaves from the crepe myrtle tree above it. Another vintage bathtub with a car shroud that looks like a flower. That's like a fan that cools the radiator. And inside the vintage bathtub, I'm growing Brussels sprouts in the center with 2 red cabbages on each side. And I do have snapdragons behind that. Those are establishing roots right now, and in the spring, those will grow twice as big and make beautiful flowers. And this is my scarecrow garden. This is Freya the farmer with her friend Lottie the lamb and Petunia the pig. John bought those for me from the Tractor Supply. We just thought it kind of added a little whimsical funness to it. And I got these sunflower stakes at a dollar store. And behind Freya is my brand new painted door. That makes number 20 and counting, because I am going to paint another. I call this little area my happy place. This is my little patio where I feed my cats so Abby can't get their food. And I have a vintage sink with a maidenhair fern growing inside that. Look how big it is. I cut it back every couple years to rejuvenate it. I found that yellow cart in the street somebody was throwing away. Of course, I painted it, and I collect water cans and more bottles and vases. I just put screws in on the fence and set those down. And that door leads to my garage. A lot of people may not realize this, but there's a whole other side of my property, a long driveway, and in this big giant building I have 2 dogs, 2 labs, Daisy and Duke. Besides the Jesus Saves sign, I would have to say this is one of my favorite pieces of artwork. Love grows here. I really enjoyed painting this shovel, and this is why I love going to thrift stores so much and yard sales, because you can always find things that people are throwing away. And my father always taught me, one man's junk is another man's treasure. So it's all how you look at things, and maybe you could paint them and just turn them into your own fun creations. And this beauty, oh my goodness, this vintage tea kettle, my girlfriend Kelly actually handcrafted this and sent it to me. I will always cherish this in my garden. Yeah, besides the shovel, I would say this is my absolute favorite piece of artwork in my garden. And look at the spoons. The little top opens up. You could even put a succulent in there. I absolutely love this and cherish it. I hope you enjoyed today's garden tour, and I hope you have a beautiful day in your garden too. Bye.